Let's work together to make this pair of Queen of Hearts earrings. I've designed this using both the Design It templates and the new decals from Sculpey. I've got some clay already conditioned and sheeted through the clay conditioning machine. This is Twinkle Twinkle, Premo Twinkle Twinkle, and I have this sheeted on a number 3. And this is Premo Accents Antique Gold. And I have it sheeted through on the number 2 setting. And I mentioned that we're going to use the Design It templates. And so it's from this set here called the General Shapes. And the 2 shapes I've picked out are this large frame piece and then the key with the heart at the top. And for this project, I'm going to start out by using the positive shapes of both of these. So, for the base of the earring, this back part, believe it or not, that comes from this frame piece. And so just lay this on top of your antique gold. And then I'm going to use my 5-in-1 clay tool, and I've got the X-Acto type blade loaded in. Now the reason I'm going to use the positive of this piece instead of the negative is because I tend to really goof up when I'm cutting these shapes out with my X-Acto style blade. And so I feel like using the positive shape protects the clay from me. Because if I'm going around the outside of the positive shape, then there's no way I can accidentally run my knife into the interior of this and make a big mistake. So there's my my frame piece right there. And you're going to need 2 of these, obviously, for a pair of earrings. And then I'm going to need a key shape. Now, for the one earring that I already have done, you can see that I've used the key in this direction. So this time, since it's earrings, I always like to make earrings, match each other, be mirror opposites. So since I used the key this way, I'm going to turn the key over and use it in the other direction for the second earring. So I'm using the positive shape again for the exact same reason, to protect the clay from me and the way that I make mistakes. But that's the cool thing about these Design It templates, is that you can work with them however you are most comfortable. You can use the positive or the negative shape because you get both of them in the set. One just pops right out of the other. Okay, so there's my key shape. All right, now I can just set those aside for now. Now, before I put my key shape on top of my frame, you can see on my finished piece, I've got just the slightest bit of texturing back here. And I did that with my, this Sculpey Design It block that has the dots. And so what I want to do is just kind of rough up my frame piece with the dots, and it gives it kind of this hammered metal look. And be sure and turn your dots at various angles while you're doing that. Okay, and before I go any further, I want to lift this piece up, and just real lightly I want to kind of bevel the edges and take that cut edge off with my fingertip. Pretty much the dots did remove a lot of that hard edge, but I want to go ahead and make sure that edge is real smooth and not so cookie cuttery looking by beveling that with my fingertips. Okay, one more little trick we're going to do here. When we put this together, we're actually folding the tabs of these tabs of the frame shape in and right up to the key. And so to make that fit really well, I'm just going to barely snip the tips of those little tabs off. Okay. All right, now we're ready to put the key in place on the frame. And I've lifted my scrap clay away. And I want to do the exact same thing I did before. I want to use my fingertips and just go around the outside of the key and smooth down those cut edges so that they look softer and not so cookie cuttery. And just take a little tool and get inside here. All right, now that piece is ready to go on top, and I want to get this all right in front of me, right in the middle, so that I can line this up real well. So the heart is going to go, I want to try to center the heart between these 2 points here. And then I'm just going to let this flop down. And just to make sure that I have my key going really straight, I'm going to use the side of something very straight and kind of snug the key edge up to this straight edge before I push it down. All right, good. And so here you can see I've got these key prongs going 2 different directions, so that'll be a match set. Yay for me, I did it. Okay, now what I want to do is fold these little tabs up and toward the key, and then they are going to lay on either side of the key and just push them down. And that just kind of, I like the way it makes kind of a little folded, kind of a bit of interest there that you otherwise wouldn't get if you just left it flat. All right, now I'm going to add a tiny bit of detail with my etch and pearl. Let me see if I can bring you in a little closer. Okay, for this detail work, I'm going to put a few little scores on either side of the key with the etch and pearl tool. I just love these etch and pearls. I use them all the time, every day, for everything. I use them constantly. I love those. Okay, so that is done. And then on my finished piece, I've got some of the new opal color. And I don't know if you've tried it yet, but I would encourage you to. It's wonderfully cool stuff. It's totally different than any of the other clays, but I think you'll really find some neat uses for it and really enjoy it. What I'm doing is making a ball that will just fit in the end of my largest etch and pearl. And I'm making sure that it's not way too much. I don't want there to be a Saturn ring around the edge. I just want it to make a nice pearl design. And you know what? I've got it a little too big because it did make a little Saturn ring there. So just pull it back up, take some of that clay off. And I don't want that Saturn ring to stick out because this is actually going to be bent later. And if you have that Saturn ring, it's going to show when you bend it. So I'm going to take my time and get this exactly how I want it. Another thing you can do to help seat the pearl in place and kind of take up some of that excess clay is to make a well for it with one of your ball tools. And then you can set that right down in there. And that's much, much better. The little ring is gone. Okay, I also put, with my medium etch and pearl, I put a little bit of the opal clay down here by the key prong. So I want to see, that's not nearly enough clay. So just make it fit right in there and then sit that right on the edge, right opposite that little prong there. That looks pretty. And then for my highlight color, I have some red glitter, Premo red glitter. And I'm going to use my smallest etch and pearl. And I'm going to put a red dot on either side of this big opal. And for this Queen of Hearts design, I love how the antique gold looks kind of grungy and old, and then the Twinkle Twinkle has its own special sparkle, and I think all these colors look really neat together. And I want a couple little dots down here by my opal piece again on either side. Just put those right next to that opal. Okay, and then I want to put a little rim of the red glitter around the heart at the top. So I'm just cutting off my little bit here. This is about not quite a 1/4 inch ball. And what I'm going to do is just roll this down to a little taper on each end. And lay that right around the edge of the heart. Ooh, that would have been easier to do before I bent the antique gold piece up, but sorry about that. Okay, just snug that right around the edge of the heart. And it's longer on, it's tapered and skinny on the ends is how I'm working that out. Okay, just pull that right around the edge. I got that side a little too long. Maybe I can nip some of that off there. There we go. All right, pretty. Okay, now comes the fun part with the decals. The decal set, if you haven't tried it, I'm encouraging you to do so. You get all these great decals in one set. You get all 6 of these. They're blacks and silvers and antique gold, and really pretty designs. The one that I've been working with on this key is this wrought iron design, which lends itself perfectly to like an old skeleton key look. Okay, so what you want to do is now you want to use the negative image of your key, which is what I'm calling this way, and you just want to put it right on the area of your decal that you want to use, and I'm going to use that little motif right there for the center of my key, and you want to just trace. Now in this case I am tracing right on top of the decal design. If it didn't matter so much where the design landed, you could always turn these over and trace on the back side, and then you wouldn't have to worry about having pencil lines on your image. But I want that particular area to end up right in the middle of the key, like I did here. So the only way I know to do that is to just trace right on top. Okay, and I'm going to separate, you get 2 of each design in the kit, so I'm going to separate that one and keep it separate. So I can get right in here with my sharp scissors, and I am just going to cut on the very inside of my pencil line. So I'm actually kind of cutting my pencil line away. Now by using the positive plastic piece to make the key shape, and then by going inside the negative plastic piece to trace your decal, that gives you just the tiniest leeway to make sure that this is actually going to fit on that black key, because this is actually a teeny tiny bit smaller. And I'm going to go ahead and lay it on here and make sure. And yes, see how I still have that little black edge of Twinkle Twinkle, because I used, because of going from the negative to the positive, you get that little bit of leeway in there. Okay, now I've got just a tiny shallow bit of water here, and I'm going to dunk my decal down in it. These always curl up at first, and the trick is just getting the water to come up over the top so the whole thing gets really nice and wet. Just kind of mess with it a little bit until once the whole thing takes on water, then it'll lay in there a lot flatter. And it's at about that point that then you'll know it's done. So just looking for my blade to pull this up out of here. And then I'm just squeezing it between my thumb and finger, and you can see how the paper backing is already coming away. And then I'm just going to slide this right onto my clay and pull the paper backing out at the same time. You're going to want to have some paper towels on hand to blot any excess water. And then you can slide this around a little bit to get it in a perfect location. So it's really neat how the decals work. The part that appeared to be white on here is actually clear. And so you can see the sparkles from the twinkle twinkle are coming through there. Okay, now what I did on the other end of my key is I just picked out some different little spots on my design that I wanted to highlight and make part of the key design on the other end. So I'll just trace those real quickly. And I'm really trying to kind of conserve my decal images so that I use them sparingly and with the most impact. So this is going to be for the prongs of the key. I don't know if that's the right word for key parts, but it sounds pretty good. All right, so I've got that one cut out. I'm going to go ahead and let it rest in this water while I'm cutting out the other piece. If I can remember where where I stole that one from. Ooh, and I gotta make sure I'm doing this the right direction, don't I? Well, I hope I did that other one the right direction. The other little piece. Let me get back on the camera, sorry. Okay, so this is for the other prong. I'm going to use this little fancy filigree area right here because it just kind of looks like it goes perfectly. With that other key prong. And I'll stick it in the water. Okay, let's see how I did. I think I did this one backwards, but I'm going to see if I can use it anyway. Well, there's my little bitty key prong shape. And I'm just going to dab that with some paper towel. Now there's also a little squeegee in the decal kit, which works great for larger decals. You can use the squeegee to squeegee out any air bubbles. It's real easy to use, but for pieces this teeny tiny, I don't feel it's really all that necessary. And here's my final piece. So the decals definitely give you the ability to get some very unique and in this case classic designs that you might not be able to achieve otherwise. Okay, there it is. Now all I need to do is pick it up and bend it to make my earring shape. So I've got my little craft spatula and I'm just going to really, really slowly pull that up. The decals you do have to be a little bit careful with if you're not going to leave them completely flat. As you manipulate them and move them around, you don't want them to get wrinkled. Now I'm just going to bend this piece right in the middle where that opal and the red glitter pearls are, and bend it till it touches itself here. Just kiss those together and then pinch them a little bit. This is what it looks like from the side. So this as an earring will have a lot of interest in every direction. Okay, and now we're going to need a little hole at the top. So I'm just going to use my smallest etch and pearl tool for the hole. And I'm going to go right above the heart and straight through to the other side. Once I feel that come through to my other finger here, then I'm going to turn it around and go back the other way and help push that kind of a little belly button of clay back into the inside. I always do that. Go one way and then the other. Just good practice. Alright, now for baking this piece, I would stand it up on my baking surface like so. And that needs to bake for about 30 minutes. Now make sure you've got 2 of them. If you've got 2 ears, then make 2 of these. And or if you want to wear them in a pair anyway, make 2 of them. And then I'm going to show you how to assemble them. Okay, I've got my Queen of Hearts earrings baked, and let's finish them so we can wear them. I've got one already assembled, and I decided after they came out of the oven, I thought it would be fun if we did one facing frontwards and one facing backwards, just so you could see both parts of the key. So I have this one facing forward because the heart is right in line with the ear finding. So I'm going to do this one the other way. And I've chosen to use antique gold jump rings and findings because they'll match the antique gold clay really well. And I'm just going to take a couple pairs of flat pliers and open my jump ring by twisting it. Properly, to open a jump ring, you always twist it side to side. You don't stretch them open, but you twist them like so. And then I just want to thread that right through the holes that we made in our clay elements. And I think I'm going to have to grab this skinnier pair of pliers to help fish that through. And I love Premo and Studio for jewelry making. It's just really strong, and I don't have to worry about that wire pulling through the holes. I even had a situation where the jump ring kind of had to be forced through the hole just to get it to come through, and I know that with Premo and with Studio that's not going to be an issue. Now I need a smaller jump ring, because what's going to happen is this jump ring is going to be going the same direction as the ear wire, and so I need a bridge between those two. I need a jump ring to go perpendicular, so I'm just going to go ahead and thread a smaller one on that open ring, and then I want to twist this back shut. So I'm just grabbing it with 2 pairs of pliers, because these are kind of heavy jump rings I'm using. And these are about 3/16 inch jump rings. They're larger than 1/4 of an inch, and they are heavy gauge. And so now I have the larger ring through the clay, and then the smaller ring, which is about, it's smaller than 1/4 of an inch. What would that be? About 3/16. And I have that strung on there perpendicular. Now I can either open the smaller jump ring at this point to put the ear wire on, or open the ear wire, and I think I prefer to open the jump ring. So just twisting it open, and then I want to put my ear wire on so that the front of the ear wire is with the side of the earring that I want to be on display, and then I'm going to twist this back. And twist it until they just meet right in the middle. And there you go. And now my Queen of Hearts earrings are ready to wear.